So if you're into football betting, I've got a really interesting proposition for you here. How would you like to have a bet each week that you can't possibly lose? It has no risk, it's a free bet, and it gives you the chance of winning £250,000. All you need to do is to predict the outcome of 6 football matches. Well, the great thing is this exists already. It's the Sky Bet Super 6. But the question I want to answer in this video is, how difficult is it to predict 6 football matches? What is the chance of doing that? And also, how can you improve your chance of correctly predicting those 6 matches? Let's have a look at that in this video. Please like and comment on this video. That will allow me to produce better quality videos and more of them. And if you're interested in learning from somebody that's been doing this for over 20 years, then subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon if you want notification of new videos as they're released. So every week I have a go at the Sky Bet Super 6. Now, I know that traditionally I'm sort of more known for being on betting exchanges such as Betfair or BetDAC and pursuing a number of range of different strategies on there. But at the end of the day, the Super 6 is a free entry. You don't have to actually shell out any money whatsoever, and you've got a shot of winning that jackpot, the jackpot of £250,000. They run the competition every Saturday. Sometimes they do it midweek as well. But basically, if you get all 6 of those football matches correct, then you could win that jackpot. Now, if you happen to get the predictions right with somebody else, then the jackpot goes down to a tie break. But we'll put that to one side for the moment. But basically, you get a free bet with a chance of winning a large amount of money. So why wouldn't you do it? It's something that I do each week. And indeed, on the BetAngel forum, we actually have a thread running where we're all entering our predictions, and we've been doing that for a number of years. And at the end of the day, why wouldn't you do it? If you have a free bet and you could win a lot of money, then you may as well put your entry in there. So why are Sky doing this? Well, the whole concept behind the Super 6 is that Sky Bet are trying to use it as a customer acquisition tool. It's a marketing angle, basically. And you've got to say it actually works pretty well, because if I'm entering it and I've no real interest in using Sky Bet, then that sort of works pretty well. And it's a nice little hook, and I'm surprised other companies don't do similar things. I think it's a great little acquisition tool. But basically, you go onto their site, you register an account, and then you can actually go on and actually enter each of your predictions. And it's quite simple. You go onto a page, they will present you with 6 matches, and then you just have to enter in the score for those 6 matches. When you actually enter that prediction and you hit that button, then of course you get an offer from Sky Bet, which will entice you through their doors. And that is the customer acquisition part of the site itself. But of course, I never click on that and I never sign up for any offers, and that's about the end of it for me. But ultimately, I think that even if you have a Sky Bet account or you don't, or whatever, you know, if you don't have no interest in football whatsoever, then it's probably worth popping on there to be able to do that, because you do put yourself in with a shout of that for absolutely no cost whatsoever. It's also a lot of fun. We have a league running on the Super 6. Like I said, we have a thread on the forum, and basically all the BetAngel users are competing with each other for the top slot. Who can predict the outcome of football matches better than everybody else? And that has been running for a number of years. Now, when you actually enter or make that selection on the Super 6, you're obviously going to be competing with a large number of people. So you want to optimize your entry, but we also need to address the concept of just how difficult is it to predict the outcome of 6 football matches. So let's have a look at both of those questions. So when we look at the Super 6 site, you basically are presented with a list of teams, and you have to predict the score. And the default score that you have here is 0-0, but obviously it would be very unlikely that all of the matches would actually end 0-0. You would expect probably most of these matches on average to be a home win. But of course, the question that we're asking here is exactly what is the chance of any of these matches either ending 0-0 or with a home win? So we can actually look at historical data on football matches to actually get a clue as to what is going to be the most likely result. So we're going to look at a spreadsheet here. Don't let it freak you out. There are lots of numbers on here, but I'll explain them and exactly what they mean. You don't need to know the detail of this, but you do need to know the outcome of this particular analysis that we're looking at, which I will tell you in a second. But basically what you're looking at here is there are 7,384 matches that I've looked at, and I've basically added up all of the matches that ended 1-0. So for example, if the match ended 1-0, we'd make an entry in here, and if it was 3-2, we'd make an entry in here, and then I've just tallied up all of those totals over the course of 7,000 or so matches. And the reason for doing this is to identify what is the most common result. So if we actually look at the thing that is the most common result, I've shaded them on Excel so you can see this easily. You can actually see that the most common result in a football match is 1-1. If you predict 1-1, you will most likely get the result of the match correct based upon other people guessing any other type of score. So it seems slightly odd, but in fact the most common result that you get within a football match is a 1-1 draw. However, you can see various other bits of shading in here, and what I've done to simplify this is to actually turn them into, or convert them into percentages. So you can see here basically that 12% of the time you get a 1-1, or certainly within the sample set of nearly just over 7,000 matches. But you can also see the second most likely score is a 1-0, and then you can see also that the next most likely result is a 2-1. But basically, you know, if we mark this in Excel and we cover all results with 3 goals to either team, then that basically covers about 90% of all possible results. But this only tells you gives you a broad brush on a number of different things, because you would expect home teams to perform slightly better than away teams. And indeed they do, because if we add up all of the results that would end up with a home team, you can see that that actually ends up occurring about 50% of the time. So if you bet or placed a Super 6 position on the home team's winning, you would probably get that right about 1 in 2 times. And to understand the impact that that would have on your chances of winning, we need to have a look at something that also equates to roughly a 1 in 2 chance. So first of all, let's have a look at a coin. This is a rather shiny 10p piece, and it has, I was just checking that, it has a head and a tails on it. So if I actually toss this coin rather badly, it's come up tails. So what's the chance of me getting 2 tails in a row? Well, we know that there's a head and a tails, there's a 1 in 2 chance. So as we've just described, getting a tails would be a 1 in 2 chance. There are 2 ways of achieving that outcome. So if I toss that coin again, it's tails again. What was the chance of that? Well, you can calculate this very, very easily, because we can basically say it's a 1 in 2 chance. So the first chance of getting this was 2, 1 in 2. And the second one, we just multiply by the first. So if we go 2 multiplied by 2, there's a 1 in 4 chance that I managed to get 2 tails in a row. So let's have a look at this again. And I've got it again. This is complete. This is the first take I've done. I'm not fiddling this. This is amazing. I've got 3 tails. So to work out the chance of 3 tails, we'd go 2 by 2 by 2, 2, 4, 8. So basically there is a, did I get that right? I did get that right. It goes 2, 4, 8. And then if we extend that naturally, it goes 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. If we're tossing a coin and we expect it to end up tails 6 times in a row, in other words 6 football matches, we end up with the scenario where it's about a 1 in 64 chance. So it's 50-50 whether we get heads or tails, and there's a 1 in 64 chance that we only get heads or we only get tails, if we consider that this is a fair coin. So yeah, if we toss a coin, it's about a 1 in 64 chance. But if we're looking to predict something within a football match, then it's not necessarily going to be a 50-50 chance. So let's examine exactly what that chance will be. So if we go into our Super 6 and we enter everything as a 1-1 draw, when you hit the submit button and you submit your predictions to Sky, this is basically what you get back. You can see here we've selected draws on each of the matches that are taking place this weekend, and we've done that quite logically, because if you looked at the spreadsheet, the draw was the most likely thing to occur. But you can see here that the accumulator that they're offering here is absolutely massive. You're talking odds of about 1,400 to 1. You know, for your £10, you'd get a massive return if all of these matches ended up with a 1-1 draw. So basically you can't do that. If you want to stick yourself in with a chance of winning, you've got to get those odds down to the lowest possible odds. They will give you and be a reasonably fair reflection on the chances of this occurring within the underlying match itself. So if you look back at our example with the coin toss, you could actually enter everything as a home win, because we know that when we added up those percentages, it was basically saying that there was roughly a 50% chance of a home win. But you can see that the odds on that still are quite high. So my recommendation for you, if you want to try and win the Super 6, is you should actually be picking the favoured home and away teams, because if you actually do that, these are the outcomes that are likely to be most representative of the actual outcome of the match, and they're also going to give you a fair chance of correctly predicting that. And you can see this is reflected, because here I've gone for an optimized entry on this particular weekend's matches, and you can see here that the accumulator returns a much less spectacular result for our £10. But ultimately this is because these are the most accurate predictions that we can give, and they're in line with the spreadsheet that you saw on this video. So yeah, if you want to do an optimized entry on the Super 6 to give you a chance of winning that $250,000, that's the best way to do it. So if we look at correct score markets, you could simplify this dramatically by just saying that if the chance of a correct score is at odds of 10, for example, if we actually raise 10 to the power of 6, in other words, we're going 10 by 10 by 10 by 10 by 10, then where we actually end up is about 1,000,000 to 1 shot. Predicting the outcome of a match is quite different from predicting the actual correct score, because the outcome of the match is a little bit more predictable in terms of being a home win or an away win than it is of getting the exact score itself. However, if you are looking at the exact score, the distribution of those scores is actually over quite a narrow range of scores typically. Now, it's not going to happen every week, but fundamentally speaking, if you group all of your selections around those sort of scores but skew it in the direction of the favoured home team or the favoured away team, then that will be beneficial. Anyhow, I hope that video has been useful for you, and I also hope that one of these days I'm going to see your name up in lights as being the winner of the Super 6.